Good morning and welcome again on what is, in our tradition, Pentecost, and here in Boulder, a special weekend because it is Boulder. And my friend Shauna is here all the way from Anchorage to run with me, and I shared about her before as my breath, getting me off my butt and back into running. So thank you for lifelong friends. We went to college together, and she's been reminding me of how I was at that time, like keeping track of even 50 cents that I loaned her. So the grateful that I've grown beyond that, and wonderful to see you all today. And as we come to this part of our gathering, invite you as you're moved to take some deeper breaths, to tune into your heartbeat, as we let ourselves arrive a bit more fully and hope to hear from this text and this message, whatever word God has for you today. And today, Elena will help me, and we will sing this preacher's prayer. This version comes from the Melodians. Great. The words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O light. I invite you to join in. Let the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O light. One more time. Let the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O light. Thank you. Not everyone is up for chaos and confusion. Not everyone is able to hang on through hard things. Not everyone can endure the creation of something new, which might only be described as the rush of a violent wind. Being bewildered, being challenged, being compelled to change, being called to dive deeper, to ask different questions, to be pushed beyond comfort into the unknown, isn't what most people want. Are you with me? And it isn't what most of us would seek. I've experienced this in my life and in my ministry in the pandemic, and all that came to us during that time made this abundantly clear. When the going got tough, when we needed to do more or do things differently, when we had to change to survive, when we had to grow new skills and seek new ways of being, new ways of communicating and sharing who we are and what we do, when the chaos and confusion came in, when the hard things began, when the rush of the violent wind broke in, many just left. I understand why. Life, as many have set it up in this country, is all about convenience. America is about pleasure and comfort, consuming and creating experience to match one's personal preference, just as we like it. Who wants hard? Who wants messy? I don't see any hands up, right? As we have highlighted over the last weeks, Americans are very lonely and depressed, and so much so that it has been declared a national public health crisis. I know there are lots of explanations for this, and I've heard some of them, and some of them are structural or related to our fragmented culture or despair about inaction on things like climate and gun violence. But I also wonder if some of what ails us is spiritual. Yes, here we believe in science, and also we know that we are designed to be together. That might be radical to say, so I'll use the words of Brené Brown. Connection is why we're here. We are hardwired to connect with others. It's what gives purpose and meaning to our lives, and without it, there is suffering. I believe that many people might not know it, but what they are missing is community. Lacking connection, and I've seen this with some of my peers, they have built a life stuffed with things and no meaning. Not much in service of others, nothing outside of attaining. And there's been a focus on curating the world just as you want it. That I wonder if some have curated out everything difficult and therefore leaving themselves alone and without some of the good stuff. Many have created sort of like a catalog life, a tidy existence, canceling out any connections that discomfort, cutting out anything that challenges or asks too much. But what if that's not good for us? What if we're designed for each other? And what if this beautiful, bewildering thing that is us humans together is just what we need right now? In a book called Ladder to the Light, Stephen Charleston wrote, "Community is how we respond to injustice. It is our unified reaction to oppression or bigotry. Community is how we hold diversity in equilibrium. It is how we maintain balance. Doing this is not easy. It requires our commitment and our willingness to learn. A diverse community is a constant learning experience." Isn't that so true? So what if it's good for us and for our democracy, actually more broadly, to be around people who think differently than we do, but who share our values? What if it's good for us and for the planet to be pushed beyond our comfort sometimes and into the unknown, to hear the visions and dreams of others? Maybe it isn't what most of us would seek, but what if that's exactly what we need? Being a part of a sometimes hard and messy thing like a community of any kind, and especially a thing like a church, does ask us to get over ourselves. Are you with me? Inviting us to learn and understand languages and lives other than our own, perspectives beyond what we would see on our own. And yes, this can throw us off, but it can also throw us deeper as we are forced to hear and listen across divides, to expand our sense of what we thought was possible, to make time to hear from others. The church is a thing that allows us to be disappointed together, to dream together, to care for creation and others beyond our silos. It's a place and a people living a little heaven on earth. I do believe our salvation comes from our connection. It's an odd and perplexing truth that the church is at the same time both marvelous and maddening. And if you're new to church, just stay tuned. You'll get both of those things with time. It's a thing that isn't tidy and isn't always comfortable, but it's beautiful. And what if part of the Pentecost story, the birthday of the church, what if that's just what it's about? Connections across differences, across languages, experiences. We don't necessarily want chaos and confusion, or to hang on through hard things, or to endure the rush of a violent wind. But what if learning new languages is part of what gets us where we need to go? I know that religious community isn't for everyone, and that Christianity has caused a lot of harm, and I hear that regularly, especially here in Colorado. But for those of us who are a part of it and are willing to hang on, who've remained committed to a church like ours that is inclusive, relevant, caring, justice-focused, engaged in the community, it has made a difference for us and for those outside of our building. And I think the main reason is that good, healthy connection is why we're all here. Connections across our inclination to curate out the hard, connections across age and experience, connections around shared losses and laments, shared hopes for what could be, connections across backgrounds and beliefs, connections that support caring inward and outward. That is good church to me. I love the words of Jan Richardson, who, as you heard, wrote, "This is the blessing that comes when we leave behind our aloneness, when we gather together, when we turn toward one another. This is the blessing that blazes among us when we speak the words strange to our ears, when we finally listen into the chaos, when we breathe together at last. Beloved of God, I give thanks that we can turn toward one another and give thanks for this messy and marvelous community that is us. I give thanks that we can leave behind our aloneness and that there is something sacred in our gathering together, in this little heaven we're making here on earth, turning toward one another, in this marvelous and maddening, messy, and sometimes uncomfortable, bewildering, and beautiful thing that is us. But what if it's just what we need? May it be so. Amen.
Greetings to you wherever you are watching this. For those of you whom I have yet to meet in person, I'm Reverend Nicola Marsh, pastor here at Community UCC. And we see that people like you are watching our live stream each week. And because of this, we are excited to be embarking upon an experiment. And we need you. If you are engaging with us regularly, finding meaning in what we are about, we would like to extend a special invitation for you to be among the first CUCC digital disciples. For signing up for just $10 a month, you will receive a t-shirt with the new CUCC logo. And we are also exploring the idea of offering other content to those of you who are part of this new and growing area of digital ministry. Sign up to support us in this new way at cuccboulder.org/support by clicking on the yellow donate tab and noting you are a digital disciple in the instructions. Or as always, we welcome an old-fashioned check mailed to us at CUCC, P.O. Box 3646, Boulder, Colorado 80307. Thank you for being and building beloved community with us, and thank you for your gift, whatever it might be.